Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back. My name is Mariah, and wow, I feel like it's been a minute since I've actually recorded anything and talked to you guys. I know I'm probably a little late on the ball with this one, but I wanted to do my most anticipated releases for 2025 because there are some books that I am super pumped for. I kind of found a list on Goodreads of books that were going to be released for the year of 2025, and I picked out some that kind of like caught my eye, and then I read the synopsis and I was like, ooh, that sounds good, I want to read that. So I have about 21 books on my list. Now, I have a list. Wait, let me light my little I feel like I've taken down most of my Christmas stuff, but I really like these houses. I think they're really cute, so I might just keep them. What was I doing? Oh, list. On my list of dates. Wow, you really cannot see that. Focus. I have my list of dates for all of the days that these books have technically been released, and there's only 2 books. Oh, I take that back, there's 3 books, but by the time this video comes out, one of them will technically not be published yet. Anyways, I'm gonna stop rambling. We're gonna talk about some books because that's what this channel is about, and you come here to watch for books. Moving on. Cleopatra. The synopsis of this is like a 2-sentence paragraph. It literally just says that Cleopatra tells a retelling, and it starts when her father dies and she figures out that she is now the Pharaoh? I think that's the word. I could be totally wrong. There's no ratings on it. There's no nothing. It's just a Cleopatra retelling, and that sold me instantly. That was all I needed to know. I am pumped for this one. Anything that has to do with a retelling, immediately sign me up. I'm ready. Are you ready? I don't think you're ready enough. Now that we've talked about that one, let's get on to the 20 others that I have. I kind of have like a mixture of everything. Like I tried to get a bunch of like, I tried to get YA, I tried to get mystery, I tried to get thriller, things that kind of were outside of my comfort zone or things that I don't normally pick up. I tried to make it to where I had a little bit of everything. The next one is Cruel is the Light. It's an epic new fantasy about a demon hunter and a foot soldier thrown together in a war. It is a high-ranking exorcist running from a dark family legacy. An orphan, Jules LaCroix, recruited by the Vatican and unrivaled on the battlefield. Also, look at how pretty this cover art is. You can't tell me that doesn't intrigue you. This kind of, to me, makes me think of like a lot of like the really old like ACOTAR books, like the covers of those. So I'm excited. I know it's not going to be anything related to ACOTAR. I don't even know why I brought it up, but I did. So there's that. Anyways, Cruel is the Light. So I'm excited for this. The next one is Death of the Author. Now this one kind of intrigued me. And like I said, I've been trying to diversify my reading and read more things out of my comfort zone or things that I wouldn't normally pick up. And this is definitely one of those reads. It says, a disabled, unemployed, and from a nosy, high-achieving, judgmental family, she's not sure what comes next. In her hotel room that night, she takes the risk that will define her life. She decides to write a book very unlike others. A science fiction drama about androids and AI after the extinction of humanity. The lines between fiction and reality begin to blur, because sometimes a story really does have the power to reshape the world. Basically, this is my type of book. The next one is, if you don't know anything about the Shatter Me series, it is like a YA dystopian type series. It was really popular. I can't remember. I just recently read it within the last 2 years, and it was a really good book series. It follows Juliet and Aaron, and it's just like there's so many plot twists. There's so many twists and turns. It's like a game of cat and mouse. It's an enemies to lovers, but with a twist. The author is coming out with a series that kind of jumps in like years later with different characters, but it's the same world, and it's the Watch Me book. I am super pumped because I actually listened to this at work, and I like could not put it down. It was so good. Like I had to know what was going on because every book something happens. But basically this book is following along with that same Same world, just different characters, like years in the future. So needless to say, I'm excited. I may end up having to reread the Shadow, or re-listen to the Shadow Me series, just so I can figure out where we left off. Because there are a bunch of like novellas that go with it as well. So I may have to do that. Who knows? We'll see. As for the next one, it is Fable for the End of the World. Now this one to me seemed like a YA, but I could totally be wrong. It's an Ava Reid book. He wrote A Study in Drowning and Juniper and Thorns. So the description says The Last of Us meets The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So basically Outbreak meets Hunger Games. I've watched the Hunger Games. I've not read the Hunger Games. I probably should. Honestly, I just read the first line. I just read where it said The Last of Us in the Hunger Games book, and I was like, why would I need to read the rest of it? Are you wanting love? If you guys have not met my other cat, this is Willow. The next one is The Night and the Moth. I seen this. I think what got me was the cover art, because look at how freaking pretty this cover art is. I don't know why, but it made me think of like vampires and, oh shoot, what is that name? Phantom of the Opera. I don't know why it made me think of that. The author is Rachel Gillig. And if you know anything about watching my videos, you know that I absolutely devoured the One Dark Window duology. One of my favorite series by far, and it was the One Dark Window series, and I have told myself that if I find an author that I like, they will just become an automatic buy for me. Rachel Gillig has now become one of those automatic buys because her duology was insane, and I'm excited to read more books from her. A goth, mist-cloaked tale of a prophetess who is forced beyond the safety of her cloister on an impossible quest to defeat the gods with the one knight whose future is beyond her sight. You ever read a word and you think, that does not look right? Cloister. Cloister? So I really honestly didn't even read the synopsis of this book. I just put it on my list because Rachel Gillig wrote it. I feel like I shouldn't have to explain that. This next book is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. Now, I've said it time and time again, I'm a huge Ali Hazelwood fan. Even though I really don't feel like I've read a lot of her books, I plan to read them all because her writing is chef's kiss, okay? Most of the books that she writes are about women in STEM. And I love that aspect of she's giving women the ability to be like freaking smart, but basically making her FMCs badasses. Okay. I remember why I put this, why I'm super excited. I don't have any college romances on my shelf. And I've wanted to read one, but I've been like, well, where do I start with that? Same as like, where do I start with like a mafia romance? So the fact that it's an author that I enjoy her writing, this is basically a college romance between two swimmers. Water, college. I feel like we're just gaining traction here at this point. This one obviously is no surprise to anyone because I feel like I've talked about it a lot too, but it is Fearless from the Powerless series. This is the third book in the trilogy. I'm hoping that this is the last one and that we just get everything we need. I've also been told that if I like the series, I need to read Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. So I think what I'm going to do is once I finish this series, I'm going to read that series because I've heard, I know there's probably a lot of controversy around that, but I've heard that it's really good. So I'm going to go back to the OG and I'm going to read her book because I've got all of them. So anyways, I feel like I don't need to explain Fearless. So the next one is A Curse Carved in Bone by Danielle Jensen. This is the second book in the Fate Inked in Blood. This book was good. The ending, the cliffhanger. Oh, I screamed. My mouth was agape. I was so upset that I had to wait until this year. I still have to wait. It doesn't come out until May. Anyways, Greek mythology. She's a shield maiden. There's a war. I need to know what's happening. No surprise there as to why that is on my list. Anyways, moving on. The Underwater Tapes. 30 years ago, Grace's mom left her hometown of Heritage, Florida, and never looked back, which is exactly why Grace thinks it's the safest place to spend her summer now. Since her mom died in a car crash, Grace has been desperate to get away from the memories and reminders of her loss. Spending the summer transcribing cassette tapes for the Heritage History Society might be boring, but boring is just what Grace needs. Until she hears the voice of Jake Underwood, the boy who first recorded the cassette tapes back in 1992. When Grace realizes he can hear anything she records despite 30 years of time between them, she strikes up an impossible conversation with Jake through the tapes. But the past isn't any simpler than the present, and a mystery has haunted Hermitage through the generations. In the 1970s, a hurricane made landfall and resulted in the tragic death of Jake's uncle Charlie. In a town as suffocatingly small as Hermitage, it's impossible not to notice how no one talks about that storm or Charlie, and as the mystery unfurls, Grace can't help but realize a worse truth. No one talks about Jake either. A beautifully written exploration of grief and what happens when untreated wounds bleed into future generations. The Underwood tapes is a perfect read for anyone in need of a good cathartic cry. Fun fact, I like to feel emotion, and the best way to feel emotion is, for me, reading or watching TV. Like, if I can get into it, okay, this makes me excited for this book. When does this come out exactly? February 4th. You know for a fact, I'm saying that like you know me, I know for a fact that I will be putting this at the top of my list. Moving on, I'm excited about that one. This is the book that's already come out by the time this video is posted. Mystery Royale. I feel like I don't really need to say much about this. It's mystery. It's said here, the Inheritance Games meets Hotel Magnifique in this genre-slicing YA fantastical mystery. That is all I needed to read. I love a good mystery. I'm really hoping that this lives up to the Inheritance Games aspect, because I love the Inheritance Games. Even though I'm not finished the series, I need to get into it. Obviously, it's on my 2025 TBR list of books I have to read, so I will get to the series and I will finish it for you guys. Modern Divination. First of all, I think the cover art, I don't know why, but it makes me think of Harry Potter. Is that weird to say? Is that weird to think that this book reminds me of Harry Potter? I think it's because of the art. I don't know why. The art just reminds me of Harry Potter. Anyways, Aurelia Schwartz has spent 23 years maintaining the equilibrium between her carefully curated human life and the magical one that she endures in secret. With a devoted best friend and top marks at a prestigious university, she has everything one could possibly want neatly within her grasp. Except her gift of green magic has begun to fade. And if that wasn't enough to upset the balance of her life, a fateful run-in with another power-hungry witch with a penchant for stolen magic has threatened to bring it all to ruin. Cast into an unexpected alliance with her dreadfully arrogant classmate, Aurelia goes into hiding among a peculiar family of witches, where she discovers that the secret of their safety requires breaking rules she has followed all her life. Make no promises, tell no one what you are, and never stay the night. I remember why I put this on my list. I remember. Count me in. I love a good magic system. I feel like any sort of magic system, if it's done properly, is a good read. This next one. This book. Lights Out by Navessa Allen. I loved this book. I thought it was a really good book. I thought it played really good into the dark romance aspect. He's a stalker. She's a trauma nurse at a hospital, so she sees all the gore, all the horrifics you could think of. So this guy stalking her, it honestly, she's okay with it. And I'm gonna make this very abundantly clear. This is paper. I want you to see it. Paper. Okay, paper. It's not real. It is fake. That's why it is called fiction. I just feel like I had to throw that out there. The next book is Caught Up. Same world, just follows different characters, which you follow Nico, which I believe is Junior, and it's basically him and another character that you come to meet. Needless to say, I'm excited for the second book. I'm hoping that it brings the same energy, the same wildness that the first book brought. So I'm hoping that Navessa Allen will keep that up. Super excited for this read. The next one is Murder by Memory. So I think when I read this book, it says, in this cozy spaceborne mystery helmed? Again, English words. Sometimes they make absolutely no sense to me, so bear with me. So this is set in space, there's murders, it's sort of like a mystery, like they have to, like she's a detective and she's got to figure out what's going on, but people aren't just killing people, they're also erasing their minds and their memories. So she's trying to figure out what's going on. I'm ready, let's go. The Bones Beneath My Skin. This is definitely one of those books that if I'd seen it, I never probably would have picked it up. And like I said, I'm trying to diversify my reading and read more books out of my comfort zone or books that I wouldn't normally pick up. And when I read this, it kind of made me laugh. It says a strange story about family, love, comets, and bacon. It says if you're fans of Stranger Things, this book's for you. So I figured I love Stranger Things. I like the creepy, you know, so why not? So I feel like I'm doing a wonderful job at explaining these. I'm hoping that I'm hoping I'm explaining it enough in my sense of like why I picked it. So this next one is A Forgery of Fate by Elizabeth Lim. Now I have read, whack my head nice, Six Crimson Cranes, which I absolutely loved this series. It's 2 books, but then there's a 3rd book that happens prior to this. I really truly enjoyed the writing. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed, it's a YA read, but it didn't feel like YA to me. So I really enjoyed it. Obviously, A Forgery of Fate. This one I believe is like a retelling, because she does a lot of like retellings of like Disney stuff, so like Disney princesses. And this one is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. It says everything I love in a story: danger, complex characters, romance, betrayal, and gorgeous writing. I honestly really enjoy Elizabeth Lim's writing. I think it's really good, and I loved her series. I have a lot of her books, so I plan to read a lot of it. So I definitely put this on there. Also, the cover art is gorgeous. I'm loving the cover art. Okay, this next one is To Steal from Thieves. This I believe is a YA. I could totally be wrong. I'm probably more than likely wrong. That's okay. I will admit I am never right most of the time. It says for 2 unlikely partners in crime, it's about to become the score of a lifetime. It says when his boss, the infamous kingpin of London's magical dark market, gives him the impossible task of stealing a priceless artifact from the Great Exhibition, he knows it's a job he can't pull off alone. Enter Zaria. Oh, the main character's name is Kane. So Kane and Zaria, and then they must work together to get this. I'm excited to read this. I'm excited. I feel like I say this about most of the books that I put on like something that I'm supposed to read. I'm always excited about books. I'm always excited to read books. I just hope that they live up to my expectations. I don't feel like my expectations are that big though. This next one is The Library of Hellebore. I think when I read the synopsis on this, it was very much like, it says perfect for fans of a deadly education and the Atlas Six who are hungry for something a little more diabolical. The Hellebore Technical Institute for the Gifted is the primary academy for the dangerously, the Antichrists, the Ragnaroks, the World Eaters, and Apocalypse Makers. Hellebore promises redemption, acceptance, and a normal life after graduation. At least, that's what Alyssa Lee is told when she's kidnapped and forcibly enrolled. But there's more to Hellebore than meets the eye. On graduation day, the faculty go on a ravenous rampage, feasting on Elisa's class. Only Elisa and a group of her classmates escape the carnage. Trapped in the school's library, they must offer a human sacrifice every night, or else the faculty will break down the door and kill everyone. Can they band together and survive, or will the faculty eat its fill? I mean, I feel like this is going to be a really good book. I'm excited about this one. The next one I'm even more excited about. When I said I'm trying to diversify, this is definitely also another one that I was honestly trying to diversify with. Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zeng. Now, this one I read and it would like immediately hooked me. I'm just gonna read this for you because I feel like it's easier for me to explain once I've read it. So here we go. In this explosive horror novel, a woman is haunted by inner trauma, hungry ghosts, and a serial killer as she confronts the brutal violence experienced by East Asians during the pandemic. Cora Zeng is a crime scene cleaner, washing away the ruins of brutal murders and suicides in Chinatown. But none of that seems terrible when she's already witnessed the most horrific thing possible. Her sister, Delilah, being pushed in front of a train. Before fleeing the scene, the murderer shouts 2 words, Bat Eater. So the bloody messes don't really bother Cora. She's more bothered by the germs on the subway railing, the bare hands of a stranger, the hidden viruses in every corner, and the bite marks on her coffee table. Of course, ever since Delilah was killed in front of her, Cora can't be sure what's real and what's in her head. She pushes away all the feelings and ignores the advice of her aunt to prepare for the Hungry Ghost Festival when the gates of hell open. But she can't ignore the dread in her stomach as she keeps finding bat carcasses at crime scenes, or the scary fact that all her recent cleanups have been the bodies of East Asian women. As Cora will soon learn, you can't just ignore hungry ghosts. For the fan of Stephen Graham Jones and Gretchen Felker Martin, Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang is a wildly original, darkly humorous, and submersive contemporary novel from a striking new voice in horror. Give it to me now. Give it to me now. I want it now. I have to wait until April for this book to come out. April. I want all of these books to come out now because I want to read them all. But anyways, these next two books, the last two books that I have, I'm actually an ARC reader for. The first one is Tenderly I Am Devoured. I think what got me was the cover art. It kind of reminded me of like Greek mythology. Obviously that's not at all what it's about, but that's what it made me think of. It says, perfect for fans of Saltburn, For the Wolf, and A House of Hollow. Tenderly I Am Devoured is a moody, monstrously gothic romantasy in which a young woman must bind herself to a dangerous chthonic demon with the help of the son of a rival family to save her family's legacy and herself from ruin. I'm excited for it. I have a copy and I need to read it, as well as this next one. The Staircase in the Woods. This book makes me think of Stephen King. And I don't know why. I'm honestly not sure why it makes me think of Stephen King, but the premise of it kind of makes me think that. So the way that this book is, the premise of this book is these kids go into the woods and find a staircase. One kid goes up the staircase but never comes back down. The staircase disappears. Years later in the future, all these kids come together again to the woods when the staircase has returned, and they all go up the staircase to, one, find their friend that they have no idea where that person went, and two, to figure out what the mystery is of the staircase. So it's basically following all of them on this adventure to find out what the heck is going on. And I don't know why it made me think of Stephen King. I've not read a single Stephen King book, but it did. It made me think of it. So, obviously, these two books I already have copies of. I don't know why I haven't gotten around to reading them yet. I need to. They're definitely on my list of books to read. Those are all of the books that I found on Goodreads for 2025 releases. I'm super pumped for it. I'm super excited. I want all of these books to come out now, but obviously I have to wait. Like I said, I will leave a list of all the books that I mentioned in the comments, so that way you guys can go and check them out if they've interested you from the little bits that I've actually been able to explain. I will get better with explaining, I promise. But anyways, I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you liked delving into my brain. Like I said, my videos I will try not to make them so set in stone. Like, I feel like I try to be too professional with it because I want everything to be perfect when I should really just be me. So, yeah. Anyways, if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Please make sure to like and subscribe. It means the world to me to know that you're out there watching my videos, even though sometimes I don't even know what I'm talking about. But I appreciate you watching. Let me know what books you're excited about for the year of 2025. What books are being released this year that are on the top of your list you can't wait to get to. Let's have a conversation in the comments because I love talking to you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, friends, bye. Do you ever sneeze and it almost like itches the back of your brain? I wish the dogs would stop barking. Oh look, they stopped barking. You guys just get to come along for my spiraling events. I don't like people staring at me when I'm recording. It's a little creepy, you know? I'm staring deep into your soul, okay?